Alright, and welcome to the Duce robot. Back here, I've been moving it around a little bit today. I said I would make a video and move it around some, and this is it. So, it's got a couple of little things. The slip has to be adjusted in it for certain. And some stuff like that, because it's a big robot. And I did use some MDF down here. And when you do that, and it's something that's that heavy, it has a little bit of sag to it from time to time. And this sat for months and months without being moved. And it had a little bit of sag to it, so it's got to have a support put in. But for the most part, it's moving okay. Seems to be moving pretty smooth. I'm not going to run any of the lights or anything like that today because I wanted to just give everybody an idea of how it moves around a little bit. And you really can't see that with all the stuff on and the stereo jam. And plus, I've learned that when you're doing something like that, and this robot has moved around, but it hasn't moved a lot in its lifetime. Catastrophe strikes. When you got stereo jamming, you got TVs going, and you got all the stuff blazing, catastrophe strikes. It's happened to me. It happened to me with this robot right here. That's no fun. A long time ago. That's an old robot, by the way, but it's fantastic. I'm getting ready to fire it up. The other screen is here next to it on that little table. That mounts on the side that you see that doesn't have a screen. It was the odd man out. There's the 20 that was on that side on this robot. So the other two are 19-inch TVs that are on that robot, and the third one is a 19 now. It's a nice one too. It's the RCA. But I'm trying to get this thing set up to move, which we're just about there. But I'm kind of under a little bit of a protest here because my dog Bean won't get up. He come in here about an hour ago and he won't move. He's got me locked down. So I'm going to have to just barely scooch him out of the way, if I can. Say hi to everybody, Bean. Yeah, he's not down with it. Not at all. He just come right in here as soon as I wanted to start doing this and is laid there and won't budge. And that's the end of it. So, can't run the robot with Bean in the way. Heck, knows what might happen. So we're going to get set up, slide Bean out so he doesn't get under the wheels, and move it around a little bit here. But like I said, there were a couple of things that kind of stalled me out down here. And one of them was the fact that that piece of MDF that you can see has a little bit of sag in it right there. And it caused some slip on this side. A little bit. But slip's better than not. Especially when you have something of this size. I haven't weighed the robot, but I know it has to be pushing 200 pounds by now. So, you know, it's ridiculous. It has that 18 amp hour battery, the huge motors. Those wheels are heavy. The base is like solid 3/4 old Dade County pine, which is super heavy. You know, and that's just a start. That's not to mention the entire mass of the entire cabinet. So it's a big unit, you know. Get a look up here where the LiDAR is mounted. You can see kind of how wide the head structure there is on it. It's not just a flat thing with a face. The face is kind of flat except for the goggles, but or the mini shades. But it's a pretty sizable, you know, there's my hand compared to it. It's pretty good size. So, and then the arm itself also, there's my hand compared to the actual claw. So, you know, it's pretty good full-size claw. I'm 5'9". I'm not a big guy, but that's about how my arm is in comparison to the, well, you really can't see it, so. But it's good size, pretty good size arm on there. So the robot weighs a pretty good amount. Plus, if you come around here, there's 2 more 18 amp hour batteries. There's 5 6-volt batteries in there, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on. There's another big 6-volt battery up there, AGM, all of them. A couple more 12 volts there, and another one on the other side. So we're gonna go ahead and get hooked up here real quick. Bear with me, and move this machine around some. Let me slide my dog out of the way. Up here. There's a couple of things to get in place yet. What else do we have? I know there's a few things in here that have to be turned on first. The only lights that are going to come on in the machine for the for any of the lights, or just some of the LEDs in all of the sensors that are going to come on, and some of the ones that are just hooked up here that come on with everything else. But for the most part, I'm going to keep most of the lights off and stuff. There's a couple of sketches up here going with some RGBs, like one. You got everything powered up on the front of the robot. Might as well take a second and come around there, because there's a couple of ways to stop this machine. One of them is here and there with that 5-volt relay. So I got all the interrupts are all working. I got all of them hooked up. Down here where they all are on the bottom underneath, you know, there's a lot of them. But they all fire, they all shut the robot down. There's a bunch of them on the front. We can probably kind of step back and get a look at a lot of them. But there's just minimal stuff going on. And I mean, if you look and see, here's all of what you're seeing, and all the LEDs are all mostly the interrupts that are all over it. Down below. Some are green, some are red. And then also, there's all the ultrasonic distance sensors are all putting off readings. You see that? And the same thing there with that. So they're all over it. There's like a cluster of them there with that. Also infrared distance sensor, which is a 4 to 30 centimeter distance sensor. It's a really good one. And that is also putting off readings. But now none of this is tied in and made into nodes with RAWs or anything like that. They're just all kind of there. There's the mini LiDAR, or the TF Mini. That is also hooked up and putting out readings through that Uno right there. The get distance sketch, I don't know how useful that is for an actual robot. There's the sweep LiDAR 360 up top on the very tip top of the robot. Can just see the ceiling fan about, I don't know, 1.5 feet above it. So there's most of its navigation. None of this is hooked up to where it's navigating the robot. The only thing that I'm going to move tonight with it, you're just going to see a small sketch that I put into the motor drivers. Not anything real fancy. It's just to move it around and give a little bit of an example, I hope, on how the machine is going to move. And we'll go ahead and get a look at it right now, because I'm pretty sure. Let me just take a look. See, when you get in front of any of the distance, any of the interrupts, it throws the buzzer and all that. So we're going to go ahead and fire up the motors and see how this baby moves around. Hopefully good. And that's it right there. Bean said, "I've had enough of this thing, man." I don't blame you, Bean. It's a load. So, but I moved him out of the way. He was not pounced in any way by the machine. So enjoy, everybody, and have a good evening.